All right. All right, y'all. We are super excited. Tara was on here about a month or so ago with us and shared some awesome information with everybody. So we wanted to bring her back and have her come on and she mentioned talking about your purpose and all the things when she was in last time. So we just want to have her come back, and she's going to do a workshop today for us on like figuring out what your purpose is and all the things. I'm super excited about it. We did email out the link and post it on Facebook this morning, but I will go ahead and drop that in the chat and everything for y'all in case y'all did not see it. So this will be the link. This is what she's going to kind of cover, or this goes along with what she is going over today in the workshop. So it's going to be super important. So Tara, I'll let you go ahead and jump in and get started.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much for having me.
You're
I
so
appreciate
welcome.
it so much. I love this group and we had so much fun last time. I
Yes.
loved pulling this together. So if you were with us last time, some of this, all these questions came forward. We did talk about life purpose a little bit. And then I think some people in the group had questions about it and said, this is so fun. I just came back from like a 5-day intensive in the beginning of June that was literally called Life by Design. And we figured out like we worked through our life purpose and all these tools. So I'm taking 5 days of training from like this 3-year journey I've taken and like throwing it into a 1-hour workshop. So if you find yourself getting overwhelmed, don't worry, we're not going to lose you. Just put a question in the chat or just interrupt me, whatever. We will get through it, but don't get overwhelmed with the downloads either, because this is stuff you can do on your own if you want to dig deeper, but we will walk you through it today. So if I'm going too fast, just slow me down or just interrupt and we will get through it. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Just stick them in there, and Megan, interrupt me anytime so we can
Okay.
do the thing. So
Yes, super excited.
all
Mhm.
right, then we're going to skip through. You do not need to know the about page. You don't need to read about that. And actually, the first 2 pages, if you see the Lifeline Insights, we're not going to do those right now. I want you to take a look at them. And I want you to imagine setting the clock for like 10 minutes and just setting this aside and looking at this lifeline. And the purpose of this, if you'll see, it's got the great moments, average moments, and then there were some terrible moments, the lower points in your life. And your job is to just think about those highlights. There's one page for 0 to 18. And then the other is 19 through 75. So you just go as far as you fit on that. And, you might think about a kid being born, one of your children. It, so interesting, we adopted 2 kids from foster care, and that was one of our highest highs, and it was one of our lowest lows. Like it was just the sadness and the bittersweet that we went through. And anyways, even in high school, I remember writing down there was like so many amazing things that happen and so many difficult things that happen. And I'm just going to tell you, this is priming the pump for when you're like trying to figure out what your life purpose is. Because as I sat back and I looked at my insights, and I saw some of my highest highs were happening at the exact same time as some of my lowest lows. And I took away from that, like, girl, look at, like, if you can soar in the middle of the hard things, like, look what you can do. So it would stand to reason that things that I've gone through in the past, I was like 16, 17 years old when some of this stuff was going on, but yet it was some of the most amazing stuff. God was using it to pivot and propel, and I just couldn't see it at the time. And so when you start to realize that God is using those parts of your story as part of who you are and to direct you and guide you, it becomes empowering. You can step out of like victim and then lean into abundance and lean into the authority that you gained from going through that. So if you're having some trouble moving through it, I just want to encourage you, take some time, because we definitely did that. And what I took away from that was, wow, like I don't need to be afraid of the lows. I don't need to try to avoid the lows, because ultimately the highs come out of it and come through it. So is everybody with me that far? Okay. So flip to the next page, and we're going to start with some brainstorming here. we're going to take some time to think about what other people praise you for. Like if you're trying to figure out what your purpose statement is, what do people always tell you you're so good at? Or they say, thank you for XYZ. Or they call you and they say, I need your advice. I need your perspective. I need what are people, your people asking you for? What are you known for in your community? What do they ask you for? And what gives you the greatest feeling while you're helping other people? That could be a great indicator. We're just doing a little brainstorming here. You've got this lined pages, right? To start unpacking some of that. And so some of the hardest things you've gone through can become your superpower if you yield them to the Lord. So look at your timeline, think about that. If even some events came to mind while I was sharing with you, if you need some inspiration about your life. And so what is your overcoming story? What have you overcome that has now become your superpower or your authority? So maybe just take a minute and jot a couple things down. If you did not print it, it works really well on a tablet also. So if you have that and you can use it on your tablet to work through this. So I'm just going to give you 1 minute and think about some of the things that have become your superpower, or could. Maybe you're still going through a really hard time and you're working through that and navigating that, and it's still a mess and hasn't quite turned into a message yet. What could God do with that situation for each and every one of you? Chances are you've already gone through something similar in the beginning years of your life. If you have any questions, just pop them in the chat or just interrupt me. Is anybody stuck or need another minute? We're going to move quickly, but we can still take some time for what you need. Okay, the link is right above you, Cynthia. The last link that Coach Megan dropped right above you. So just click that. Oh, she dropped it again.
I redropped it again. I know sometimes if they hop in,
Okay.
like she didn't hop in when I dropped it, it might not show
Mhm.
up, but I did just, and y'all, if you're catching the replay or anything, um, the link should be everywhere, but we also did email them out and stuff. So if you have if you're on our email list, it's there. It's posted in the group and stuff as well too.
You didn't miss anything yet, Cynthia. We're just getting started and we're on page 5 where it says start with some brainstorming. It should just take you a minute to download or print. And we're just getting started thinking about some of the things that we've been through, some of the things that people will praise you for, ask you for. We're trying to figure out what are the gifts in us that God already gave us to design what we're called to do. Okay, so if everybody's ready to go to the next page, across the top it says, what is my primal question? And it has a QR code. So what I'm going to need you to do is grab your phone and use this QR code, and you're going to take a really quick quiz. It's very simple. And there is a book you will have the opportunity to buy. I don't make anything off of this. This is just one of the exercises that we used. And the premise is this, that every human being has 7 primal questions. We had the lead pastor of the mastermind. He came and did this presentation. It was so powerful. And we all have the 7 questions. Am I safe? Am I loved? Am I secure? Am I successful? There are multiple if you've never read the book or heard the premise before, but we all have 1 or 2 leading questions. So you want to know what your primal question is, because when you can operate in solid safety or whatever your question is, you can turn it into your superpower. And we're gonna talk about that. And you know what? If you've gone through it and you see it, you're writing it down, or can you even share with us in this chat? Are you guys friends here? Does anyone want to share what their primal question is? It might take you a minute or two to get there. I'd love to hear some of them. And you're going to see how we plug this into our life purpose statement. You just got to trust the process with me. Is anybody getting anything yet? Is it longer than I remember?
I think I'm about halfway through, looks like.
Okay. Okay. Maybe I should have made more time. I can sit in this with you. Mm-hmm. You have an extra helper today, Megan.
I do. I'm babysitting today.
And
So yeah.
Mhm. All right, Cameron's asking, is there a link? So if you want to use what we're, do you mean the QR code or you need the download itself? I can copy that too. If you want to drop that again. So here's the link for the download. I'm on my phone and can't scan. Oh, I wondered about that if some people were going to have trouble with it. Let me pull it up and maybe you can type it in. This is really good to know, and you're going to see how we unpack this. Let me see what I can find you here. I could have just put the website in there too. Hold on. Actually, you could just Google primal question quiz. Yeah, it's primalquestion.com. And it's very simple. Looks just like this. You're going to take the quiz. It's free to do. I apologize for that. And as soon as we get to the next page, you're going to understand why we had to do this. Does anybody have an answer for their primal question yet? Don't overthink it. And I think this streams to a Facebook group too, but I can't see that. So if there's any questions there, somebody just let me know.
Yeah, I'll keep you updated. So
Yeah.
my question is, am I loved?
Oh, Megan. Okay, good one. Good one. So you can write that down on your paper. Anybody else? This will be super helpful for when we move on to the next part. Mhm. Anybody else want to share theirs? Should we move on? I wonder if we need more time. Am I good enough? Yeah, Cynthia, I'm so glad you could jump on and catch up with us. Yes. I was going to put the whole list of all of the primal questions. There are 7 total. I just didn't want to have like 100 pages of paper if y'all didn't want them. But you can learn more even from the website and reading the book. It's not a hard read if you want to learn more about this, and you'll see why. Okay, one more. Anybody else want to share? And then we'll keep going. I need clients. Will I get them? Okay, so that's Brad. All right, so the best part about your life purpose statement, if you don't have them, yeah, all right, so you're on your phone, unable to get information. All right, can you open another browser while you're on the call? Sometimes I don't know if Zoom lets you, but that would be primalquestion.com. So back to Brad, when you can understand why the way that you operate and your gifting, you can show up better for your clients. So if they are sensing confidence in you, and they are sensing solid, like regular, that you can stay regulated, that you are showing up to serve them, it makes a difference in how you show up every day. It makes a difference in how you see them when you know what your gifting is and what you're called to do. So your life purpose will be, you'll be able to use it in every season of your life, regardless of what you do. So it wouldn't include even like an occupation, because occupations change, right? But who you are and how you show up is how it works. All right, so a lot of people are on their phone and not able to do it. Okay, well, I'll let you guys move on with that. I did list off some of them, so if they resonate with you, I'll show you how it works. So what did make, or Cynthia said, am I good enough? So she would have written down on that page, my primal question is, am I good enough? So, well, before we go to the next page, you're going to see you can take your question and you can turn it into your superpower. So a lot of times what happens when you are operating in that question, you are already showing up in such a way. I'm gonna guess that Cynthia, when she is regulated, when she is showing up the way that she wants to, like her best self, that she makes other people feel encouraged, makes other people feel as though they are good enough. It's really neat the way it flips like that, because we can look at it as our Achilles heel, or we can look at it as our superpower. Okay, I hope you get some of that. All right, so what is your primal question? Flip the page for me, and your primal question goes in the middle. And so where you have that, am I good enough? Am I loved? Am I safe? Mine is, am I safe? So I realized, without even understanding what was going on, I had the ability to make other people feel safe while they were, and go figure. We have 2 kids we adopted from foster care and became their safe place. And our journey was that, but I couldn't see it until I understood I'm always asking that question, am I safe? Okay, so there's 3 circles at the top of this page. And what happens is, when our primal question is not being answered, we operate in a scramble. That could be with your partner, that could be with your kids, that could be in the workplace. Okay, Brad, so here this is tying in like how you show up as a person, even in the workplace or with customers, or when questions come, or when hard things come. So this is the amazing benefit of knowing what your question is. So if I don't feel safe, there are some things that I do that I show up differently, and that is a scramble. So Megan, when you don't feel loved, oh, we got one said, am I wanted? Yeah, I had some friends that pulled that. So good. So this can unlock a key for you if that is your primal question. So I'm going to guess, Cameron, you make other people feel included. You make other people feel like part of the journey. You can look for people that are not always included, and you can make them feel as though they are wanted. That is your superpower when you can operate in a stable place, right? And most of the time we can, but when we get triggered or when we come to a challenge or when things have just been hard, there are times we operate in a scramble. So what does that look like when your primal question is not getting answered? So Megan, when I don't feel loved, some of the negative things that happen, 1, 2, and 3, you just pick for yourself. You know you're showing up. What happens? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? And how do you show up? So Cameron, when you don't feel wanted, was it Cynthia's was good enough? So when you have a lack and when you don't feel that way, you are operating out of a scramble. And remember, this is like a full-on book. You can go into so much depth on this. I know I'm just hitting the high spots, but I want you to understand that the gifts that you already have in you, when you can recognize them, first of all, identifying the scramble, when I think I don't feel safe, so I start withdrawing from my husband. So I'm watching and I'm saying, oh my goodness, like I'm pushing him away. Because I don't feel safe. And why is that? Is he making me not feel safe? No. But when I can identify the scramble and I can say, I don't want to do that. I want to be the wife who shows up and leans in and turns conflict into connection. So why don't I feel safe? Okay. And so on the side where it says my primal avoidance looks like, so what are you doing? Are you putting walls up? Are you shutting people out? Are you playing small? Are you leaning towards negativity? Pick 3 things that you know that you do when you tap out and what you're doing to avoid that. And again, there's space for the primal question just on the bottom to help you refresh to make sure it's on there. Take a minute for that. Is anything coming up for anyone that you want to share? You're going to see how it all comes together. And if you're just joining us too, just hang in there. We can print off if you want to print off and Megan, you said there's a replay, so you can go through that, but you can catch us. We're right in the middle right about now. We're about to get to the life purpose statement. But before you flip the page, if you're ready, if anyone has anything to share. Oh, am I secure? Thank you, Celeste. Okay, yes. So my guess is you have the ability to make other people feel secure, or you have an innate nature for you to make other people feel that way. And so your scramble would be when you don't feel secure, how do you show up and how do you react? Thank you for dropping the link again, Megan. And so if you're ready, and again, this is just priming the pump, and you can go back and look at all this and work through it, just joining. Yeah, there is. Megan, just drop the link. If you can't see it, we can drop it again. Oh, I remember redeeming revenue. Yes, yes, I love that name. Okay, so if you want to download that and print off, we're right through the middle. And this is stuff you can work through on your own. And also if you want to catch the replay, and I am available. I did send an email, a follow-up email. If you got it, you can reply to that email anytime and I'll help you through this. All right, so the last box that we have to fill out, where you see the box that says my primal gift is. So you are taking your question. Okay, Brad, hold on one second. Good question. I love that. You're going to take your question. So mine is, am I safe? And my primal gift is, I bring safety to others. And I turn it around to a straight statement and I say, I am safe. We're going to flip the I am. Isn't that so neat where you turn that into your superpower? So Megan, your primal gift is I am loved. You flip it. I am secure, I remember. And then just take a minute to define what living in your primal truth looks like for you. So, okay, great question, Brad. You got this. All right. So am I safe is my question. So when I am operating out of being regulated and I am safe and I am feeling that way, I'm showing up as creating a safe place for other people. I'm showing up with an understanding. It's an innate nature, like whatever your gifts are. Remember, we all have the 7, but there's one or even two primal ones. I have some friends that went back and took it again for almost like a sub, because I wonder if my second question is like, am I loved? Because there's times if I'm not feeling safe, I'm wondering if I'm asking the same question, am I loved? And this will also come out of your childhood. And I bet you can tag a memory to it. Once you know what that question is, I bet there is a memory that you have that stemmed from that question not being answered as a child. So you can do a lot of work. You can identify the scramble. You can see what it takes for avoidance behaviors, and you can turn that around where I'm walking around and I'm going, I am safe and I bring safety to other people. And whether that's in my home, whether that's more joy and freedom, whether that's my life purpose statement, because a lot of times the gift that's already in you, the gift that is already in you, is what you're designed to do. Does that answer your question? Well, you asked me to define what safe means to me. So when I am scrambling, I'm asking myself, what's going on in my life? Why am I not feeling safe? That could be financial issues. It could be one of my kiddos. We have like Teen Plus. We have our 20-year-old son and our 22-year-old daughter still live at home with us, but our 22-year-old is moving away, like to Nashville, which is 7 hours away. And I lay in bed and I'm like, is she safe? Yes, she's moving into a beautiful apartment with a gated community. And I'm going, oh gosh, is she going to be okay? When my son doesn't come home when I think he should come home, and I'm going to check and find my iPhone. Am I safe? What is safety? It could be finances. It could be even in my home, our adopted kiddos, sometimes trauma doesn't go away, and sometimes my son, he's an absolute miracle. And there are times that trauma rages its ugly head, and that looks like, rage. And it looks like, a 12-year-old tantrum. And sitting with my kiddos in that, am I safe? Like, I'm supposed to bring safety to them, and I'm supposed to keep everyone in my home safe. That doesn't always feel like it when there's trauma going on. So how quickly can I get back to that? I don't want to operate in my scramble. Okay. So did everybody just take a minute to define? So knowing what your gift is, knowing what your question is, if you are living in your primal truth, what does that look like for you? So someone who feels, is asking, am I secure? So you bring security to other people. What does that look like? For me, it's keeping my home safe. It's keeping my finances safe. It's leaning into my husband. Like, am I safe? Are we safe together? Taking conflict and turning it into connection. Those are all things that are important to me. And teaching my kids, like, even when there's hard things going on, we can lean in and we can do this together. So the reason I am so committed to having you figure this out is because of the next page. When we get to the life purpose statement, you want to do this hard work, and then you want to flip the page and you want to understand what your life purpose statement is. And I'll read you that quote first, right in the middle of the page. Your purpose is found where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need, right? We were all created for a purpose, and it's to serve other people. Our giftings we can use to serve other people. So your life purpose statement is a clear, intentional declaration of why you are here, a guiding compass that captures the essence of who you are, what you're called to do, and how you are meant to impact the world. It's not just about your career or your goals. It's about the core mission God designed you to fulfill during your time on earth. So going down to the last paragraph, this statement brings clarity in moments of confusion. I'm sorry, that's a typo. Clarity in moments of confusion, direction in seasons of doubt, and fuel in times of fatigue. It helps you make decisions, prioritize your energy, and say no to distractions that don't align with your calling. A strong life purpose statement integrates your gifts, values, pain, and passions, and points them towards something greater than yourself, something eternal. I if you look at the bottom, it's supposed to be a triangle, but I put it in pink, so I don't know if yours printed out very well. I should have put it in black, but I didn't want it to be too heavy on the paper. But it is a triad. And what happens is it takes your life experiences, your unique gifts, and your passions, and there is a hole in the center, and that is in the middle, your life purpose. So we're taking all that together, and you're realizing that everything you've gone through, all the gifting that you have, and what you love all comes together to create what your life purpose statement is. They deliberately overlap. I'm sorry if you can't see that, but if you have it on your tablet or your screen, you should be able to see it. My printer just didn't want to make it pretty for me today. So this is how our mess becomes our message. So if you weren't here in the beginning and we talked about that, the lifeline insights, and where you're writing the hard things and the amazing things. And you're like, wow, like, look what you've gone through. Look what you've been through. And you're realizing what God is doing in all of that. And there might be some places in your life, especially closer to the past, you might still be going through something right now where you're like, Romans 8:28, like, God wastes nothing. Where is the goodness in this thing? Like, there's just sometimes that we're still working through the mess to get to the message, and that takes some hard work, right? But going through every one of those things is what brings us to the next point. So that's why you want that life purpose statement. You filter everything through that life purpose statement. It's going to guide you and it's going to strengthen you. And that's why it's so important to take that moment and really make sure that it's crafted for you. So let's bring some of this together. We're almost there, you guys. Take the 3 boxes on the next page, and this is how we're going to figure it out. So take the triad that we just talked about, and in the first box, just jot down, what are you uniquely gifted at? And we're just brainstorming. There's no right or wrong. Put everything on that page that comes to mind. The next box would be what key life experiences may be connected to what you are designed to be doing. So for me, once I am safe, or am I safe, whichever one it is, and I'm like, wow, like, I didn't even know that when we went through foster care. I didn't even know. And when we had to learn about trauma, and when we became therapeutic foster parents, and when we understood like what happens to the brain when we go through trauma and how to heal from it, science is light speed, learning how we can rewire our brain. And when you can look through the lens of what your life purpose is and you can have clarity, it will change the way that you make decisions. You will not operate out of a place of scarcity. You will not operate out of a place of panic. You will operate through, I am serving these people using my gifts. And it'll be a lot easier to say yes. If anything, any decision that you make through your life purpose statement, you'll be able to make it out of faith instead of fear. Does anybody ever just make a knee-jerk reaction out of fear? And then once you make that decision and you're like, that's not how you wanted to show up, or you wish that you hadn't, or wish that you didn't. Well, that's not going to serve you very well, right? It's not very effective, but we can change it moving forward. Is everybody with me? Jill, need another minute? In the last box, what passions do you have? What lights you up? This is going to help us create that statement. We're going to take bits of information from each of these pages to give you content for every one of your life purpose statements to come together. Y'all got quiet on me again, so I'm going to assume you're working really hard. I don't have the paper. Can you show oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, this is what it looks like. And you can just do a couple different lines. Discovering your life purpose statement. So, what are you uniquely good at is the first question. What key life experiences may be connected to what you're designed to be doing? Think about your lifeline or your past, your highs and your lows, and what that fueled you to do even today. And the last one, What passions do you have and what lights you up? Just the first things that come to mind. Usually those are the best ones. And just do a brain dump. There's nothing right or wrong about any of it. It's just helping you to choose what's most effective for you. Thank you, Celeste. So there's a reason y'all love what you do. If any of you have ever done like the 5 love languages, I know that was super popular like years ago. This is a great tool to get your kids or your spouse, your partner, your business partner, to do the primal question. Because when you can understand their language, you know, it's funny, as my husband and I both have the same question, same primal question. So I can really recognize, you know, if he's in a scramble and I'm thinking, oh, I would use to take this personally. And I'm thinking, okay, he just needs to feel safe right now. So it's really cool when you know what your kids are. So what do you love to do? What do you love to do? And y'all, when you're ready, if you want to let me know, we can move on to the next page. You're doing great. All right, we're just going to do one more mini brainstorming session here before we move on. If you guys are ready, flip the page. And I just want to push you a little bit with some of these points to consider. Okay. First of all, your calling can shift, but your purpose never does. Okay, that's why we're going for something super solid, because it depends on the season of your life. Your calling will change. There's a season that you'll be a bookkeeper. There's a season that you will not. There's a season that you're maybe a stay-at-home mom. You know, got pastors change professions, you know, so, but their purpose stays the same. So callings change, but purpose stays the same through every one of those seasons. Okay. Your purpose can come from your primal question and gifting. That's why we work so hard to identify that earlier. And the final question, the one that gave me the most clarity when we were going through this exercise ourselves, if money was not an issue, what would you be doing? And so we sat in this room, there were 20 something of us, and we worked together for 5 days. This is now like the 5th morning, and we've done days of this. And so we sat in that room, and the leader asked us, if I took $1.5 million and I deposited it into your bank account, what would you do? So you don't have to think about money. You don't have to think about making money. You don't have to think about none of that. It's off the table. And once he said that, I was like, oh, okay. So what would I do? And it's not even about a specific action. It's about a general doing. And I'll show you in just a minute. So if money was not an issue, what would you be doing? And I just gave you an extra page for you to put some notes down there if you're working through here. If you want to jot down your primal question again, just to give you more inspiration or a reminder, whatever your primal question is, and your gifting, your superpower, is what they call it. So if money was not an issue, what would you be doing? If we were born to give back, we were born to serve, we were born to live, in joy and freedom, what does that look like? And if I've lost you or if you have questions, just let me know. We're almost there. Even just a few sentences can help point you in the right direction. So try not to be critical. I went back to school after 20 years to get my bachelor's in English. And one of the first classes they taught us, just start writing, just get it on paper. You can't do anything with a blank page. Does everybody feel like we can move on? You want another minute? Okay. If you've got some things jotted down, flip to the next page for me. And based on these questions and the discovery that you've had in these pages, what do you believe is your life purpose statement? So I'll give you an example here. This is what I came up with after 5 days of working through all of this stuff. So don't feel like, you know, um, we're all going to be the same, but here's what I came up with because of my primal question and what I am called to do and the gifting that I have. So I exist to help people break through to freedom and joy through biblical encouragement and coaching. And if you're still struggling with some of these pieces of information, that's okay. But the reminder is, Lord, what am I supposed to be doing? So you would start with I exist to, or my purpose is. And you just write that down, whichever one rings more true for you. I exist to, or my purpose is. And you're going to fill in the blanks. Now I'm going to tell you, when we did this that last day, every one of us was like really working on clarity. It was hard. And the reason it was hard, and I'm wondering if it'll be the same for this group, is because it was full of leaders. Like, you don't just sign up for a course, to take 5 days out of your life to fly across the country and, go through a, a, an experience like that, right? They were all business owners. They were all community leaders. They were all in the outliers, on the fringes. And so I'm going to guess if this community is running their own businesses and establishing their own legacy, their own business, y'all are outliers also. So it may stand to reason that those purpose statements are very similar. Yours might be very similar. If y'all have business buddies and you're working through this together, or you compare things, you may find that your statement is might even be similar to mine, because the group that you're in is not just for the other 80%. It's just not the way it goes. When you're around leaders, you're going to have similarities. And so for me, when I'm asking if I am safe, the opposite for me would be to help other people break through to freedom and joy. Like, if you're not worried about safety, you're living in the ultimate freedom and joy. And then the through part would be how you do it. Is anybody stuck, or anyone have any questions? So Brad, I want to go back to address your question from earlier. Can you see how having a life purpose statement and knowing this and looking at this every day would cause you to show up differently and with clarity and with confidence in a way that you did not before? And maybe you already had a life purpose statement, but still, using that, does it help you show up better? So it'd be a lot easier for someone to say yes when they feel the confidence or the servanthood, the clarity and the conviction that you operate from. And could you better serve your clients that way? Celeste, do you need more help with this too? I just see yours as the last. Okay, good. Okay, Cynthia's listening and enjoying. I'll work through it tonight. Oh, okay. Well, I'm so glad. I'm glad we have you anyways. We're still learning, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And again, I did send out that email, so you can always respond to that and I can always walk you through it. And you can even ask now, Lord, what am I designed to be doing? Does anyone want to share a purpose statement? Is anyone having trouble? I'm at work, so I'll listen. Oh, okay. Okay. Ooh. I believe I was designed by God to educate, guide, and support others through financial stewardship, equipping them to grow strong, sustainable ministries and businesses so they can boldly live out their calling and share the love of Christ. Wow. All right. That is absolutely beautiful. All right. So, oh my goodness, that is just so good. You got it. You got it. So, what I would do from this, and what I forgot your first name. I'm so sorry.
Michelle.
Michelle,
Yep.
right? Okay, thank you. Okay, so Michelle, thank you. What I would do if you've got this all written out, yes, you keep this and you start with this. This is the season that you're in right now. This is what you're doing right now. And that's good. That's well and good. I believe it's for a now season. I think we need to take this and refine it to the simplest part of it. We had to take these and edit them with buddies and with small groups, and then we had to memorize them. It took like 3 and 4 hours to do this. So I'm not trying to, I don't want to shred it. I want you to keep this for now, but I want your purpose, your life purpose statement to be able to apply in every season that you have moving forward. So we would take out anything specific. I was designed by God to educate, guide, and support others through financial stewardship. That might be enough without your why, because you already have a through financial stewardship. And that could look like anything, even if you chose to mentor things, mentor people moving forward. So as you move forward in that, okay, you agree. So you understand what I'm saying. I do not want to shred this, or this has to be organic and edit it. But yeah, I think you know what you're doing right now. Strong, sustainable ministry. So you know your why and businesses so they can boldly live out their calling and share the love of Christ. Yeah. So that's your believer evangelism ministry. And that's what your gifting does to other people. And what was am I secure? I forgot your primal gift. No, you weren't secure. You were, am I successful? Oh, it is. It is. I am secure. Oh, well, that makes sense because financial stewardship is one of the most powerful ways of obtaining security, right? So they can boldly, so if they have financial freedom, if they have security, if they're successful, so they can boldly live out their calling and share the love of Christ. That is so beautiful. That's so exciting. There is another page. There's a note page if you needed it, but if you go to the second to the last page, it literally has for you to fill in my life purpose statement. And you can put it on that page and you can keep it with you, whether you want to put it by your bed, whether you want to look at it every day while you're brushing your teeth. This is such a beautiful example. Thank you for that, Michelle. That's so exciting for me. And I would challenge you to take I believe off of there too. I was designed by God to educate. You know your purpose. You guys are awesome. Oh, thank you, Brad. That's so exciting. I was hoping we could win you over.
So, Tara, I guess like I'm struggling with making mine a statement. I guess I
Yes.
guess is kind of where I'm at. And I don't know if anybody else is kind of there. Like, you know, a little bit about my past and stuff, and then like this entire thing has definitely made a lot. Everything makes sense for
Mhm.
sure. Like looking back at like when you look at the lifeline in the past years and like things that you've been. But like one of my like long-term goals that I've always had has been to do something with domestic violence stuff. And it feels
Mhm.
like that, like all of this stuff obviously does play a big part in it. And
Mhm.
it's because like the I am loved, because there were so many times where that's always been a question. And one of the parts that I love so much about coaching and coaching the students and stuff that we do is the mindset piece, the motivation, seeing their wins, and all of those things. So I feel like all of this does lead up and play into that. It's just coming up with that statement
I know.
for that, you know?
Okay, so all the overachievers in the group, raise your hand. And all the recovering perfectionists, raise your hand. Because it does seem it can be very intimidating to write words down. And it does take working through. Like I said, we did this like, over the course of 3 and 4 hours, like working back and forth, or like what I just did with Michelle. We were repeating back and forth and we're crossing out words and we're trying, which is why I brought in the extra paper, because one of the comments was we just needed more paper to go through this. So you have to be unafraid to put something down. And it has to, it's like the glasses you put on, but it doesn't matter what you look at, right? So if you're just looking at your purpose statement, these are the lenses you're going to look through your life to filter. So you would start with I exist to, or my purpose is. And so what are you doing, or what would you like to do with this? And I had a feeling
Like
we're gonna, yeah.
one of the words that I wrote down was like empower others.
Yes.
Um, so I do feel like that's part of for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
All right. So let's go back to the quote where it says, your purpose is found where your deep gladness meets the world's deep need. And we don't have to refine it to like, so I exist to empower others. It doesn't have to be women. Obviously, you even have men in your group, so if you're giving them tools and you're working through that, so we don't want to trim down so much that we eliminate a potential season in our life, but we want it to include the gifts and the calling that we're going through. So whichever feels more organic to you, I exist to, or my purpose is to empower others to what? What do you want them to do? What do you want them to feel? What do you want their transformation to be?
I think to feel loved and believe in
That's
themselves.
it. Okay. Empower others. Her primal question is, am I loved? Right, Megan?
Yep.
Uh-huh. To experience love, to empower others to experience love. Maybe something else, but we can come back to that. Through what? What are the tools? What are the methods? What are the avenues? What do you want to bring to the table?
Good question.
Through what? I think coaching.
Yeah, yeah, definitely coaching.
Let me see if I can share Skylar's. He shared his. Okay, so his example was, my life purpose is to inspire others to reach for excellence in their lives through personal development and a closer relationship with Christ. Boom. That way, whatever he does, it just gets filtered through that. Where was mine? Yeah. I know we already went over mine. I exist to help people break through to freedom and joy through biblical encouragement and coaching. So whatever mode you use, definitely coaching. We know that, right?
right.
And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's enough for now. So what you're going to want to do is read it over and over again. Get a buddy, and I can do this with you after the call, like if you want help
Okay.
with this. And you would just volley back and forth until it feels organic to you, until it feels like, oh, Michelle is helping you out here. Megan was designed to love others deeply, creating space for them to feel seen, heard, and valued through her presence, time, and intentional guidance. It does
Love
help
that.
to have a buddy. Yeah.
Yes.
You may want to take those words and write them down and see what stands out to you. And you can keep that even for maybe this is the season you're in. Maybe it's 5 or 10 years down the road. When we did our life purpose statement, we spent another the rest of that afternoon literally planning out a 1, 3, 5, 10, and 20-year plan for our lives.
Oh,
So
wow.
if you
Okay.
take the purpose statement, it causes you to work through the rest of it. And again, knowing your primal question, and we did several other exercises that helped us know, even more information. But you have access to all of it, like knowing what you know about yourself, the vision you have for your life. And so that's why I'm saying from the purpose statement, you make your plan for what you want for the rest of your life. Well, the next 20 years.
Right.
And you'll see how you can step into that when you are working through your life purpose statement. Does that make sense?
Yep. Yes, definitely.
So you guys, I know I came at you with a fire hose today, and I feel like we just scratched the surface. We probably could have spent like 3 or 4 hours to do the whole thing together. But we did, some of you were asking last time, for our group, we did open our Rooted in Faith online. It's really like an accountability group, like a collective. So anyone who's in the T-shirt of the month club automatically gets into the Rooted in Faith online group as long as you're in the club. And oh yeah, and you can use Megan's discount. She has Megan 5 if you want $5 off your first month. You do not have to if you don't love t-shirts or anything like that. I'm just telling you that's the bonus this month. You could get T-shirt of the month club and you could get in there for free. The group itself is $7 a month. So if you want like the devotional that we had, it looks like Michelle's going to be a good buddy for you, because she's saying she's refining it for you and she's understanding. She's got the whole purpose. She's taking your gift and she's got your through. So there's a lot of good stuff in there. Maybe ask
I
ChatGPT.
love that. Yeah.
And I've got some other tools and stuff too. So if you want more help, I'm putting this in our group. We'll have, weekly devotionals in there. That's where we say, if you just need more easy wins in your faith, we're just taking basically trauma-informed, science-based, biblical truth and putting it in the group. So if you're a believer, for me, it was 20 years I walk with the Lord, and we just had a church family that was I don't want to say afraid, didn't know enough science and psychology, and foster care threw us head first into, we better learn about this stuff. And every time I would read another book and I'd be like, okay, Lord, where is this in scripture? Or Lord, what do you have to say about it? And so as we're learning these tools, I'm so grateful to share them with everybody else. I'm like, oh, if you are not afraid, you will find it in scripture. You'll see where God is, renewing us, transforming us by the renewing of our mind. And so That's the purpose of the group, is we're going to find scripture and we're going to live scripture and we're going to be transformed by the renewing of our mind. So if that's interesting for you guys and you want to continue going deeper in this, we can discuss all of that in the group. I'm there and I'll respond to any emails that you send me to. I'm so happy to work through that.
Awesome. I'm so excited. This was great.
Yeah, I love your feedback. I love doing this with you guys. I feel like everyone was quiet, but I gave you lots of homework assignments. So just let me know. Okay, I'm seeing. Okay, it was so good. I'm so glad. Okay. So if there's any questions, I know we went over, but I'm here for unpacking any of the tools. Oh, Celeste, yeah, the group, it should, if you follow the link for the t-shirt club, actually, and then I'll email you guys the link if you just want the group, the Rooted in Faith Collective. I can send an email out in just a minute if that's helpful. Thank you, Celeste.
Awesome. And if I see anything pop up in the group or comments
Mhm.
on anything, I'll let you know. And we can get answers and stuff over. But y'all, if y'all respond to her email, y'all have the link if you signed up for the handout. So
Awesome.
I'm so excited. Yes, there's a replay. So you will it's in if I don't know where you came from initially, but it is in our Facebook group, its Facebook page, YouTube, and podcast. So you will see
Wow.
it in all of those places. So any of those places you can catch the replay. And if you want to catch it, like as soon as we stop, it's on Facebook because we were live on Facebook. So you can watch it today. So
You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for spending an
awesome.
hour with me.
Thank you so much for coming. This was great. And I'm excited to see what everybody comes up with and the questions
Yes,
and how life-changing this is going to be for
I
everybody.
know. I'm
So
so proud of you guys. Good job with the hard work.
yes, thank you, Tara, so much.
Take
Mhm.
care.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.